Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever and whenever. Bringing you some Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament action. We are into the round of 16 here. Bringing you this matchup between cheamo, who took 2-1 wins over Ravis and Plasma Kappa. zerorush took 2-1 wins over DazeCloud and Kelethar. Set up this matchup here. We've got game one, calling it tonight. I'm Reg, I'm joined by Drossi. So, it says key sanity, Drossi.
Yeah.
We've seen that 3 times before.
As we were discussing right before we came up here, they were drawing from a very even deck. Everything had either 1 or 2 cards, so all the modes were roughly equally likely to be picked here. So, I haven't actually seen tournament keys come up in a bit, so this will be fun, hopefully. zerorush rolled the seed, so we know who to blame if it goes sideways.
Yeah, but these guys are both pretty good at the video game.
Yeah, though this is actually cheamo's first time in the round of 16. He made it to the round of 32 last year.
Well, that just means continual improvement. And that's what you like to see in a runner.
And hey, bombs to start are also something you like to see.
Yeah, this isn't a standard start, so we're not gonna take those and be relaxed that we can just blow the hole in the back of the sewers right away, but... Oh, bombs on the triple.
What was up with that extra guard on cheamo's side?
I don't actually know. I know that both guards are supposed to be there, but sometimes one of them just doesn't spawn for some reason, and I have no idea what that is.
Eastern big. That probably means Eastern's a pendant, right?
I mean, there's always the bow to screw up the Eastern Palace even with the early big key, but that Uncle route immediately paying off real nice.
Yeah, probably each runner is very glad he did that. And afterwards will be particularly glad knowing that his opponent also did it and he would have been behind otherwise. Oh, but cheamo is turning this into a full escape route, it looks like, or else he's just trying to get more bombs.
Nah, definitely going to take the bombs into the castle here, because knowing that they're on the tier 1 triple, it's real easy to grab some out of the Lost Woods as well before heading into Kakariko, even if you were to use up all 10 here. So I like this.
Oh, true. zerorush will probably, beat one of those crows or pickles or something and do the tree pull.
Yeah, even if he doesn't, 7 is plenty. We see zerorush grabbing the map here because, hey, it's key sanity. You don't know what your dungeon prizes are until you find the maps or you get the actual prize.
Very nice bomb kill of the guard there for cheamo, only he's... well, weird items on both sides. Shield for cheamo, mushroom for zerorush. Can we call that mushroom French vanilla?
Yeah, sure. It's right next door to its usual home. Yeah, cheamo, just based off that first room, definitely has practiced the bomb escape start strats, which last year we kind of had this whole tournament where it was just hard standard mode for the entire tournament. And therefore, knowing your bomb strat's kind of important in case Uncle just gives you the 10-pack. And we're still seeing that come through here.
And as discussed, he made it to the round of 32 in that tournament, so presumably he did have to do his bomb escape strats a few times.
Yeah, and getting round of 32, or getting the bracket stage at all, both this tournament and that one, no small feat. Community's got tons of really good runners.
zerorush's top rando accomplishment is probably, as he finds a sword in the back of Blind's Hut, is probably going 7-0 in the 5-12 Swiss and then making it to the round of 16 in brackets in that tournament.
Yeah, and with the variance of rando, going 7-0 in a big Swiss stage, that itself is huge. I mean, we know from his vanilla speedrun experience that he is very, very skilled player.
Yes, one of 4 players who made it to brackets in this tournament with a sub 125 NMG time. There was Bombos in the well, about the only interesting thing we found in the well.
Yeah, but there was a sword in Blind's hideout, which means he can actually use it.
And $100 is a pretty good deal for a Cane of Samaria, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd do that every seed and then some. But we see cheamo here going full on the early Kakariko point. It's going to get his green pendant information here. Misery and Mire.
Speaking of Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, gonna need that Cane of Samaria to get that green pendant if we decide we want it, but that is still a ways off. Not gonna take the dip into Eastern Palace though, even though he's got the big key.
So, that was the lamp in the back of Tavern. That means that we are either a second sword or a cape away from Aga.
Right, because even though this is Key Sanity, this is Tournament Special Key Sanity. Both of those Castle Tower keys are going to be in the Castle Tower. Ganon's Tower Big Key also going to be in Ganon's Tower, but that's not something we're going to see for another, hour and 10? Maybe a bit more?
Yeah, and one of the reasons for that is to kind of keep the runners guessing, because if the seed handed you 2 Castle Smalls and the lamp and 2 swords, then it's pretty obvious it's an Aga seed. Whereas in this case, if we get a second sword, then you have to guess. Like, should I keep looking for other Dark World access, or is it just gonna be an Aga seed?
Yep. It increases the frequency of Aga seeds a bit compared to traditional Key Sanity. Brings it more in line with regular open and standard seeds, really. But it is an interesting dynamic, like you pointed out. And chat pointing out, we found map, compass, and big key for Eastern Palace, apparently. Just missing that bow.
Hey, and speaking of other ways to get to the Dark World, we did get the glove in the front of the dam.
Glove, mirror, lamp. I'm giving Tower Para a bit of the side-eye myself, even with no keys.
Yeah, that's true. We can get right up to it. 2 checks available with no keys and no hook shot.
And then a couple more checks on the mountain itself right next door that you can pick up on the way.
Yeah, so honestly, it's one of our more dense locations at this point between what we can get on the mountain and Hera now that we've done most of the major things. Of course, there's also the Back of Escape. That's a nice quick 3.
Yeah, I expect Back of Escape to be played before the mountain for either of these runners, because it is just a real quick save and quit. But not much going on in the mini Moldorm cave there.
Well, that's a second Skullwood Small. I wonder if there's going to be, like, if a third Skullwood Small and a Fire Rod show up, that then starts to scream Mothula.
Yeah, because Skullwood's key logic doesn't mean that much. But the boss is logically blocked by all 3, which is a bit of like a trivia, fun fact sort of thing for the most part, but does come into play, especially when you're looking at pendant Skullwoods rather than crystal.
Of course, we don't yet know whether it's a pendant or a crystal.
Yeah, and we might not for a little while. But we see zerorush here actually skipping the Ice Rod Cave, going straight for fake flippers into the Hobo location.
Yeah, without boots or flute or anything, it's a hike to get to Ice Rod Cave.
Small key to Ganon's Tower unfortunately doesn't do very much for us. Like, having a couple just because we know we're likely going to have to search more than a couple locations in the basement is nice. But we're going to stumble across multiple of those, I'm sure.
And welcome to our Raiders from SpeedGaming 5. You're getting here not even 10 minutes into this round of 16 match.
Yep. We've still got the runners clearing out their Sphere 1 checks here. Cheamo, well, both runners started with the Uncle route and got a bunch of bombs for it. Cheamo went into the castle where he didn't find very much. Zerorush has been doing the more traditional Sphere 1 locations here. And Cheamo just now making his way to South Shore. Anyways, I think you were saying something about a flute leading to the Ice Rod Cave.
Oh, yeah, how about that? Or flute in the Ice Rod Cave, you know, prepositions.
Yeah. Into, who knows, words. Cheamo actually not taking the South Shore route right here. Heading for that immediate mushroom turn-in instead. Probably going to just save scum it right here if it's nothing, because we've got Samaria in hand.
There's pod map. And a pod small. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. The first of many that we'll be seeing this seed, but always interesting to see where you get your first one. But actually, chat pointing, bringing up a good point. Zerorush doesn't actually know this, but Misery Mire is the green pendant, and as far as dungeons go, Flute only really hard blocks that one. So, a bit of an interesting pickup. I'm kind of expecting Zerorush to just go straight to the mountain here. Could see him detour to desert first, though, just to get that way out of the way of Gina check, as well as that desert ledge. It's real easy to scout.
Yeah, nice easy check when you get an early flute like this. And we find that Eastern is in fact a crystal. Oh!
Yeah, we're going to be finding our Titansmiths fairly soon, I expect.
Yeah, I mean, or we could get the Moon Pearl by the book, but one way or the other. I suppose the cruel thing would be Titan's mitts on Pyramid Ledge.
Yeah, that would be rather rude. We already have the flute, the power glove, and the mirror. And traversing the Misery Mire region as a bunny so that you can mirror to the desert is in logic.
Indeed. It also means that Cheamo's probably going to be forced to Ice Rod Cave sooner rather than later.
I still expect that to be his next check here, though. Like, Zerorush had the interesting routing of fake flippering to Hobo and then fake flippering from there to the Ice Rod Cave. But Cheamo's going to do the more traditional way here.
Yeah. So, he'll be in good shape. I wonder if Zero's gonna dip Eastern or wait until he has the bow. Probably wait until he has the bow, and he's just here for green pendant info and 3 items.
Yeah, because with the flute, it's not even faster to walk from Sahasrara to the dungeon. So I expect him just go to Death Mountain here, see if he can't pull the bow there. Maybe go into Eastern afterwards if he doesn't find anything. You see, at this point, Death Mountain is the density play, especially knowing that we can't actually get the crystal from Eastern.
Yeah. As we discussed, 5 items up here given what we have at the moment.
And decent odds that we pull something that just opens up even more. Specifically, Hammer or Hookshot just gives us all the east side.
Yeah, though of course there are also 5 items available and in Logic and Eastern.
That is true, yeah, with the lamp and the big key both in hand. Ultimately, though, I'm a fan of when you've got 2 equal density plays like this. Choosing the one that's not the dungeon that you'd be setting up a double dip for is my preference, at least.
we are getting a bit of convergence here too, and even more maps.
Yeah, and zerorush not going to grab that one. Can't say I blame him.
Maybe he'll grab it on the way out if he doesn't find anything else.
Maybe. It would still be slow, but if you're going to do it, then on the way out would be the best time because you can just save and quit out. Only 3 bombs here for the first one. This is going to be our last item on the mountain here. And no, we are going to Eastern after all.
There's also Dark Cross. I don't think we've seen that.
Oh yeah, cheamo didn't have the lamp, didn't do it. zerorush couldn't do it from the back because this is key sanity, but Mire plus lamp, I expect him to do Dark Cross as his next check and then the dungeon afterwards, honestly.
Yeah, since Dark Cross is actually in logic, while Boomerang Chest and Zelda's Cell aren't without that small key.
Yeah, very silly quirk of key sanity there. It does apply to normal standard, well, not standard, but normal open seeds.
Well, that quirk makes sense if you don't have the glove, because you could want to steal one of those small keys from the front to get to the back and check the 3 chests in back. But once you have the glove, it's a lot less relevant.
Yeah, and who does that besides cross keys players?
Also true. I've seen it once or twice. That's our second ice small. Also kind of interesting.
That does put the entire dungeon in logic without hookshot, without Cane of Samaria. So, at least I think without hookshot. I don't remember off the top of my head, come to think.
And there's cheamo finding out about that moon pearl. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, something pretty much has to be in Eastern, unless I guess Zora's the only other possibility.
No, Zora is in logic, and we have seen no significant amount of cash this seed. Both these runners sitting on less than 150. Let's see where cheamo opts to go here. Oh, it's going to just be Dark Cross. Get that Ice Palace key.
Yeah, and I think after this, besides the fact that we know it has to be Eastern or Zora, I think the runners will both know that at this point.
Yep, because they've both done everything else at this point. Dark Cross will be the last one for cheamo. The Cell is the last one here for zerorush. And yep, the save and quit.
And I guess Eastern has nothing, you hope it at least has a 300 so you can get most of the way to Zora money.
Even if it's got nothing, they can get to the rupee room in the back, which I believe is 90.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Mushroom turn in yet.
Yeah, we did. It was 50 rupees.
Did we? Oh, I totally missed it on
cheamo save scummed it.
And there's zerorush's save scum, yep.
Yeah, cheamo did not scum it, but he did it. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I misremembered that part. But regardless, both these runners have Eastern Palace as the only real play left for them. If they're thinking about it.
cheamo just checked one of the higher tier tree pulls, and that's 4 bombs.
Yeah. Pretty nice, but you're not going to spend time farming that up when you can get 1 bombs for pretty much free. But I'm thinking through the ways that these runners can easily get their hands on some money. There's that rupee room in the back of Eastern Palace. And they can both hula hand by bombing themselves into the grave for 225. Those two together are about 300, which means they'll only have to farm that rock by the desert once or twice. That's not terrible. Feels bad, but could be a lot worse.
There's a Mire small, which puts a number of chests in Mire in logic. Not that we can get into Mire without, the Titan's Mitts.
Yeah, and if we can get the Titan's Mitts, we can get the Moon Pearl off Desert Ledge, which means we've suddenly got a lot of plays that are just more appealing than Mire.
Well,
also, speaking of appealing.
Yeah, arguably the most appealing item in the game there. Both runners probably wondering why they didn't do Eastern sooner now.
Yeah, if you pulled, let's even just say the 128 runners that were in the group stage of this tournament, if you asked all of them what their favorite item was, I would expect boots to actually be an outright majority of the responses.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. There's Mire Big. It's weird, and maybe we should do a prediction in chat, but I think Mire's probably Bombos.
Yeah, I would put very, very good odds on that at this point. Of course, the scary part is we're down to one check, and we haven't actually found any progression here.
Well, Boots does open Bonk Rocks.
Oh, right. We found a fetch quest for progression.
So, we do have a prediction going in chat now, Bombos or not Bombos, and cheamo, thinking on his feet, grabbing some rupees there just in case Zora does wind up being the progression. Which it's a pretty good chance of. I mean, Bonk Rocks or Zora, right?
Yeah, 50-50.
And it looks like Zerorush is coming around to grab those rupees as well.
Yeah. Good smart play from both of them here. And then I would assume Bonk Rocks and then Hula Hand next, because that's fairly easy to route together.
Yeah, at least they have the glove and don't have the flippers, so Hula Hand's doable.
Yep, just gotta open that grave up and bomb yourself into it. Pretty simple.
He must have half the maps at this point.
Yeah, and that's even including at least the one in Spectacle Rock that they both skipped.
Oh, hello, Mitts.
Yep, there's the progression. Zora's gonna be waiting a little bit.
Only Zero's deciding to Hula Hand anyway?
Nah, this is King's Tomb.
Oh, right, because the Mitts opened another check, of course.
Yep. And then flute to the desert, use the mirror to grab your pearl. Probably check Mire's Shed plus Desert Palace itself. Desert Palace is fully clearable right now. A bit miserable of a Landmola's fight, but certainly doable.
And of course, if Mire is Bombos, we can grab that Moon Pearl and then actually enter Mire. Now that we have the boots.
I believe that Misery Mire, if it's Bombos, is in logic for everything except the Firelock chests on the left side.
That is
and
right.
Even those are reachable, just not logic yet without all three small keys.
But Zero gonna check Desert first. I mean, it is unfortunate when the seed starts pointing you to Pendant Mire, and it's beatable, and I think the only beatable dungeon we have at the moment.
The most miserable part is just their weapon loadout. Just a fighter sword is really sad for going into Mire.
Yeah. But, hey, that's the joy of advanced mode, right?
Yeah. And that's Bombos. So, checkerboard cave before going in seems pretty obvious to me, at least. Then
Yeah.
after that, you got to, right? Even with the rest of the Dark World available?
I mean, the game handed you the medallion to enter and, the boots to actually get in, Samaria, big key. And there's our third Skullwood small, so it wouldn't at all surprise me if the fire rod's somewhere in Mire. Maybe even on Vitreous.
Even if
or
it's
on
not.
Sahasrahla.
Yeah, that's possible too. Cheamo not going in. Which I totally respect this, just because you don't want to double dip a dungeon that you could hypothetically full clear the first time. But you also don't want to fight Vitreous on this loadout, it sucks.
Yeah, no bottles, no invincibility items.
Not even a hammer.
Maybe there's a hammer in Mire, who knows?
Yeah, that would be something that I think a lot of us have seen more than a few times before. Big key of Skullwoods. Thanks, game. Nice fetch quest there.
And going straight for the big chest since we have that big key. But that's not the answer.
It's either this or you take the key, the small key, to the left side and do the fire side first. I think the fire side first is probably the more popular, but big chest first is also alright. You can't go straight to the map chest after that because the pegs aren't lowered properly. And yeah, chat's kind of talking about it, but my opinion on this is big chest first is like if you're looking for one progression item and considering bailing, and you think that the logic may be there for it. But Zero Rush coming over to the fire side after.
Certainly the easiest thing to check. Oh, there's a bow in the brewery, so now we can finish off Armos Knights and get a crystal there.
Probably hoping to find some more pod keys, maybe even a big one, just to combo that in.
Yeah, that would be nice. We only have one small so far.
Yeah. One small plus the big is enough to reach and kill the Helmasaur King if you've got all the items. Which we also currently don't have the hammer. Kinda need that.
But yeah, since Armos Knights only have one item, and you have the Mire, you're probably just gonna wait until you're ready to do pod diving.
Looks like Cheamo gonna grab the Smith. Zero Rush still on no real progression in Mire besides that Tower of Hera big key. Does do a good job with that door extension there to clip through that rail and just dash right through it.
Oops, ran out of small keys. Because we only did have one.
Yeah, that's a little bit inconvenient.
Have to go to Spike Room first and grab that key from under the pot. And there's our first bottle, which is nice and convenient from the Smiths because you can just mirror and check Sick Kit. Well, I mean, we've mirrored to get the purple chest, but check Sick Kit while you're in the neighborhood.
Yeah, or just with the flute whenever you want, really. Could hypothetically put it off to save the mirror transition, but that's not quite as efficient, I don't think.
Hey, I was saying about Hammer and Mire.
Yeah, stop me if you've seen that one before. But that's the big progression there. And third or second spot Mire small inside the dungeon.
And Sick Kid has the desert big. Cheamo had to be careful there to be able to pick up the purple chest again without abandoning it.
Yeah, always a bit annoying when you've got to pull out the bomb to walk through the portal like that, but it does work to keep you from abandoning your chest.
We now have quite a few dungeons we can complete between these two runners.
Yep, Zero Rush has taken that key for Harris straight there. Gonna do the east side of the mountain afterwards with that hammer. And once Zero Rush goes to the village of Outcasts region, he'll be able to make a lot of headway in Pod, even with only one small key.
Oh yeah, and as Zero goes through the mushroom, fake powder on Magic Bat is now an actual viable play.
Yep, it's gonna wait until Zero Rush does the Smith Chain, which I would imagine he would do with Village of Outcasts main Dark Overworld stuff, just because that's when it's convenient for him. But until he finds the powder, he has no particular reason to rush that location per se.
Yeah.
It's just an efficiency game.
There's our Thieves small, so if we get the Thieves big, all of Thieves is in logic.
Yeah, always nice to find the small key before the big key for that reason.
And also to find the hammer before the Thieves big.
Yeah, that too. There's not much more annoying than having to leave the Thieves Town big chest behind because no hammer.
And Moldworm's dropping a crystal, so that's our first actual acquired crystal.
Yep. Got the 31.5-minute mark, 31:40 or so.
Oh, and it looks like Cheamo is now making the Mire play, which is good, so he will get his hammer.
Yeah, I guess Cheamo loses out on a little bit of efficiency here. Just mostly from not being able to loop in hammer pegs for the rest of the Smith stuff. But ultimately not going to be too terribly punished for missing that hammer.
At least, I hope he's doing Mire next if he's doing Desert now.
Yeah, probably going to do the Elaine Molas first, which, unfortunate because it'll be a slower fight without that hammer.
Hey, remember what I was saying about the Thieves big?
Yeah.
It was sitting in Spiral Cave.
I mean, Zero Rush going to go into Thieves Town with the big but no small. That's a bit scary for him.
Unless he decides to do Hype Cave before Village, which is entirely possible since he has the hammer.
Yeah, hammer and mitts makes that, like, I guess, it makes the Smiths a little bit awkward, but you have the flute, so even that's not too terribly bad.
And for other potentially pain-in-the-butt items, we get the Ice Rod out of Paradox.
Yeah, just missing the Swamp Palace small key is the really obnoxious one-off items now.
And for all we know, Swamp is a pendant.
Yeah, and maybe that key's just in GT.
And other useful item out of Paradox, we get the Master Sword.
Yeah, that one's pretty nice. Like, it's one that you just assume you're going to run into. You don't really look for, per se. But always good to have. Especially you can see they're just dashing through the many Mold Arms and actually killing them.
Interesting that cheamo prefers to use fighter sword strats on Landmos rather than NMG strats, which would be the bow and arrow.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I can't stand the NMG strats for Landmos.
I mean, they're tough, but arrows do more damage than fighter sword hits.
Yeah, arrows do significantly more damage, but cheamo's got the sword. He's been using Samaria decently well too to get some extra hits on. And ultimately, it's just a matter of if you're not comfortable with or you're bad at the NMG Landmo strats, then just going for the sure thing with the sword is going to be faster.
And Landmos drop a crystal, so all 3 Light World dungeons are crystals, which is always something you like to see.
Yep, because the Light World dungeons are fast. Dark World dungeons, at least a few of them, can be rather convoluted and just slow. And zerorush showing off some, we'll call it some NMG tech. It sees plenty of use in Rando, though.
Oh, wow. Now that's interesting because the Desert Small is necessary to put Landmos in logic. So, officially, Desert is locked behind the hookshot.
Yep. But with Landmos only dropping the single arrow, I guess it could be a 5/6 crystal, in which case we'd know no hookshot at Pyramid Fairy.
It also
sorry, go on.
It also gives us 2 checks on the right side of Desert.
Yeah, which cannot be the hookshot. But as far as outside the dungeon goes, really just means hookshot's not in GT, regardless of what swamp is.
Hey, it's like mention a tough item and it shows up. There's our Swamp Small in Spike Cave.
That Burna was in Paradox Cave, I believe, right?
I think so. This seed has had a lot of cookie crumbs in it, and if you just follow them the right way, you seem to get everything you need. Now, the only unfortunate thing here is zerorush is going back into Desert without the big key, so he won't be able to do Landmos.
Yeah, meanwhile, we see cheamo back in Eastern Palace. Did not do Misery Mire. Just going for the dungeons he knows he can easily, conveniently clear.
Oh, chat's telling us Burn was Hookshot Cave, by the way.
Oh, first chest Hookshot Cave, which does mean still in logic with those boots.
I think I was watching the Landmo fight at the time.
Yeah. I'm looking at cheamo's rupee count and his weapon. And I'm thinking flute to 8, fake flipper to the upgrade capacity fairy, buy a arrow upgrade before going into Mire, maybe?
That could be very useful for the Vidi fight.
Yeah.
And if you're over there anyway, wow, as we find Tempered Sword on the right side of Desert. But yeah, if you're...
that, cheamo got a hookshot off the Armos.
And here I was saying, oh, you wait until you do pod because there's only one item on Armos.
Just that one item is the hookshot. Easy game, easy life.
And Zero, a little bit surprisingly, is doing the Village of Outcasts area before Hype Cave. So he may in fact go into Thieves Town without the small key.
Yeah, which is going to be a little bit scary for him. We won't know what's in that chest until cheamo goes and does it. And for better or for worse, there's really not much of anything that could hard bottleneck zerorush at this point, I don't think. Like, what are we missing that we know we need? Could it potentially just be pod? Well, we don't even know what any of the Dark World dungeons are, I guess, so it's hard to say for sure.
I mean, well, at least one of Skullwood's, Turtle Rock, and Swamp has to be a crystal, so at a minimum we need either the Flippers or the Fire Rod.
Yeah, flippers or fire rod. Ether is in the mix as well. And then the associated big and small keys. Nice little Samaria strat to get through the Gibdo room there. It's super well known and super common at this point, but also just super nice because that room is a pain without it.
It really is, and part of me wishes as a kid I had figured that out and just put off Skullwoods basically forever and come in with better equipment.
Also, shout out to that chest being Sphere 1 and inverted.
Yeah, even with inverted keys.
So Zero Rush is avoiding Thieves Town and the non-sea house checks in the village. I am curious about how he's going to route those in. I'm assuming he's going to just pick up the purple chest and drop it.
This is our first look at hammer pegs.
This is probably Pod. Oh no, it's Turtle Rock.
Interesting.
Pod keys have been surprisingly scarce for how much of everything else we have.
Makes me wonder if Pod might be a pendant.
That would certainly be a reasonable thought at this point.
I forget, what did Sick Kid have? The Desert Small?
Desert Big, I believe.
Desert Big, right.
Yeah. Small key was, of course,
there was the Desert Small that Cheamo just got.
Okay, now how's Zero Rush gonna... Is he just, leave the purple chest behind here, take it back into the Dark World, and do the rest of the village checks? So, gonna immediately turn in the purple chest and then presumably flute back to 3, use that mirror portal, and finish the rest of the route. Interesting decision. I feel like this makes the Cave 45, the cave south of the Grove, in particular, a bit harder to route in, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right, and Hype Cave, I'm a little bit surprised he's put off Hype Cave. Of course, it will wind up being very unfortunate if there's something in Veep's big chest.
Yeah, he has also put off the magic bat check despite save scumming the mushroom earlier.
Well, he did just get his bow, though, which opens up access to the hook shot.
Yeah, and with the hammer in hand, he can flute to 5 for that, and even approach it from the Dark World if he wants.
Okay, Pod is a pendant.
And Swamp Palace is a red crystal.
And Thieves is a regular crystal.
Big key to Skull Woods, which unfortunately Zero Rush was kind of in there before. Didn't do very much. And Cheamo, I believe now, is pretty much out of locations that aren't way long walk to get to Pendant Pod, although he doesn't know it's a pendant, so he's finally going into Mire.
Interesting routing for Zero, going to that chest first. And now he has to go around to open this chest. No, he's skipping that chest altogether?
I see. NMG muscle memory is my guess for that. Because that's not a chest you open in the vanilla run, but the one that he did get was the big key.
Right, I guess, but yes, that was... For those of you listening along, that was Thieves Town Compass chest that Zero just abandoned.
And
maybe he got thrown by being turned into a bunny or something, I don't know.
Maybe. And unfortunately, cheamo, I don't know what happened there.
Everything okay, I hope? Yeah, that is unfortunately a forfeit from cheamo.
Yeah, which we will... It looks like Zero Rush does, at least for the time being, intend to keep playing. We will see how this goes and how this seed develops, at least.
Yeah, cheamo lost a lot with that crash. You can see he doesn't have any crystals in his inventory.
Yeah, that sucks. It's like, I know how it feels for him, and it absolutely does not feel good to be in this situation.
Well, and I believe in the previous round, Zero Rush actually had a crash about 45 minutes in.
Yes, actually, that did happen. Telethar opted to replay the race, and Zero Rush essentially wound up advancing, in large part because of it, you could say. Anyways, it is a blind fight for Zero Rush here.
Yeah, it's too bad. This looked like it was shaping up to be a pretty close race, all things considered.
Yep. But for now, we're still left with how well can Zero Rush do with the rest of the scene. That blind fight was pretty good, for example.
Yeah, and we just have to hope that he didn't leave anything in either the compass chest or the big chest here.
I don't believe there was anything in the compass chest. We did see cheamo do the first 4 earlier. And I don't believe there was anything in there. But yeah, the big chest is going to be looming over Zero Rush for a little bit.
Oh, that pause was probably with the 10-minute delay where Zero Rush saw cheamo's forfeit in the race room.
Yes, I would expect that to be the case.
I recall there was nothing in Dig Game, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
So what do we still need? At a minimum, we need the flippers and the fire rod.
Yeah, because we can't have both Skullwoods and Turtle Rock as pendants. One of them has to be a crystal. So, flippers, fire rod, and then if Turtle Rock is the pendant, that could be it. Because you don't... I mean, we've got all the Skullwoods keys, not that we need them anyways. But we don't need the big keys for Swamp or Mire. Or not Mire, but Ice Palace. So we could be set in keys.
Yeah, I mean, and just given our loadout, it seems kind of likely TR is the third pendant.
I mean, we can joke about early Ice Rod meaning Pendant Turtle Rock all we want, but...
Oh, I meant our lack of ether and lack of keys.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah, but we still do have a fair few things to do. We are pretty close to being able to do all of Swamp. Those flippers are likely to just kind of drop in our lap at some point.
I mean, with Icebreaker, we can do all of Ice except the big chest out of logic since we don't have flippers.
Yep, but knowing that we need the flippers, I expect that to be more of a closer to go mode thing. Yeah, here's that Thieves Town small key that zerorush is probably going to hard glass location if he has to go back there at all. And Skull Woods is the other 5-6 there.
Okay, so yeah, either Ice or TR is a pendant, and as I say, I'd put money on TR being the pendant, but hey, we can put a prediction in chat and see what everyone else has to say, right?
Yeah, no idea when it'll get resolved, but yeah, it makes for a good prediction because it's not likely to be immediate. Yeah, there's the flippers, though. So, Swamp Palace, anybody?
Yeah, and we are potentially, well, zerorush isn't going to do Swamp. He hasn't beaten Armos for his hookshot yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So
he's
but
gonna
yeah,
do Catfish instead.
We are potentially Fire Rod from Go mode.
Yeah, at least one zerorush kills the Armos Knights, gets his hookshot.
Right, sorry. We are potentially Fire Rod from no mode.
Yep. And I mean, with the way things are shaking out here, I mean, I don't think Armos is an obvious next play for zerorush, really. But I think combining it with Pod probably actually is. And this might... Nope. No.
We can find out whether Zelda has a crystal or a pendant, right?
I mean, she's got crystal number 7. That's how it works, right?
Third DR small, interesting.
Yeah, that's enough to clear the dungeon. You'd leave the lava chest behind. Of course, that does presume you have a big key. That small key has to be one of Pod, Mire, Turtle Rock era. I guess it could be GT too. So yeah, still plenty of options actually. Ignore me. I'm thinking silly.
Yeah, and since you know the GT big key is in GT, that's another feature of this tournament key sanity mode. You do want a couple of GT smalls just to help you get through the basement easily.
Right. Odds are decent that one is probably in there. And there's numerous pot keys regardless. And that's 4 Turtle Rock smalls.
Yeah, so we definitely need Fire Rod, and I guess if Turtle Rock is our last crystal, we still need TR Big and Ether.
Right.
And zerorush needs to beat Armos Knights at some point.
Yeah, which he's going for the flute here, it looks like. Flute to 5 will put him in real good shape for that. Oh, Lumberjack first, actually, just to make sure he doesn't need to go kill Aghanim for anything. I don't think Cheamo checked this either, so this is going to be new info for us.
Yeah, make sure Fire Rod isn't here. Just a heart container.
Yeah, which means absolutely no reason to go back to the castle anymore.
Oh, here's the Ice Palace play.
Yeah, with Zero Rush not having the hook shot, this makes way more sense than Swamp ever would. Just unfortunate because we know where the hook shot is and that it is very available to him. Nice Palace here. No big key means leave the big chest behind. Everything else in this dungeon is reachable, even with the boss not in logic, though. So, if this is the crystal, then we'll also learn Turtle Rock is the pendant, or vice versa.
And lacking that big key, he is going to hit the switch here.
Yeah, it doesn't really have much choice there without the big key. Because not hitting the switch is tantamount to saying that you will 100% find it here, or you're fine not killing the boss.
Yeah, and I think he just wants to one-shot it, and if the big key doesn't turn up, he'll skip the big chest, and that's that.
Yep, which is definitely the way to handle this.
Now, mind you, we don't actually know yet whether Cold Stare has a crystal or a pendant.
Yeah, chat getting better than 2-to-1 odds, thinking that it's the crystal, thinking Turtle Rock has the pendant, but we will see, because I think a lot of those predictions came in before we found those 2 Turtle Rock small keys in the Zora area. Anyways, while Zero Rush makes his way through the checks here, I do want to explain for anybody who may have shown up late, anybody who may be watching this later as a VOD, what happened. Cheamo, unfortunately, did have a crash around the 45-minute mark in this race, did opt to forfeit. Zero Rush is continuing to play, and Cheamo is showing off the vanilla preset of the randomizer, which basically means he's doing a speedrun of the vanilla game, but with all the randomizer quality of life enhancements. But that is not going to be the focus of what we're doing. I just wanted to give a little bit of clarity for anybody who may not have seen the original to understand what was going on there.
One unfortunate thing about early Flute and early Mirror, both of which were Sphere 1, is that you hardly ever save and quit after that. You don't have many reasons to. Zero Rush did recently because he wanted a Sank start, but other than that, there are relatively few reasons, and so Cheamo hadn't saved for like 20 minutes or something, so he lost a lot of progress when he crashed.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, especially playing a no major glitches category like we do in the rando here, you don't plan for crashes. The likelihood of one happening is rather small. But Zero Rush in here on a pretty much vanilla layout for Cold Stare. No Fire Rod, but has Tempered Sword. Does get out of the corner, but I think he's got it pretty clean there. Yeah.
And pendant for all that.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised after the Turtle Rock small keys all showed up, but got to be a little bit disappointing because there wasn't even any progression in there to note. There was a pod key, but that's pendant too.
So we have a fire rod, a TR big, and an ether medallion that could be basically anywhere except in TR.
Well, TR big key and fire rod both definitely be in TR.
Also true, so we kind of hope ether doesn't show up for a while.
Yeah, you want ether to be your go mode item here if you're Zero Rush.
And if Zero Rush is going back to clean up Desert, hopefully he'll go back to finish off Eastern soon and get his hook shot, and then maybe everything's just in Swamp.
That would be the ideal if you're looking to see Zero Rush finish this quickly. Ten arrows, I mean, let's be honest here. Is there a less inspiring pickup in the randomizer than 10 arrows?
1 arrow?
I mean, 1 arrow is at least silly because there's only one of those in the pool.
I do wonder what the devs were thinking when they put that in.
And it's in pod, in vanilla at least. It's in the rupee base.
Is it maybe a hint that you're supposed to shoot the statue?
That's pretty much where I was going, because that is literally the only thing that comes to mind. And Ice Rod is going to be Zero Rush's best weapon for the land molas here, although Sword Spins do the same tier of damage, so that was an interesting direction for that Ice Rod shot. I don't think that was at all what he wanted.
Hey, we could have a high five in Desert.
Good. Is that Zero Rush is already done? So next step for Zero Rush here is this. So you're gonna go back in and finish Misery Mire. He's certainly well equipped to do so now.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't mirror bonk.
Or as long as he just doesn't bonk.
Yeah, we could do like Cane of Burna dashes and all sorts of fun stuff against Vitreous now.
Yeah, but Zero Rush being the vanilla NMG player that he is, I am rather certain we're going to just see damage boosts.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you normally have Tempered Sword here.
Yeah, and you've normally got about this amount of health. I think you might have 1 extra heart normally. Can't remember if it's 10 or 11. But regardless, the damage boost strat you can pretty comfortably do even on 7 if you're experienced with it, which Zero Rush absolutely is. So I am not at all concerned for him here.
By habit, he's trying to keep his whatchamacallit,
his spooky action.
Yeah, can't actually do spooky without a fire rod, but he was kicking up dust anyway.
It's a good habit to be in, just so that you don't forget to do it when you're actually doing vanilla runs or something.
See, now Cheamo's using the bow and arrows on Landmos.
It's probably just a comfort thing, if I had to guess.
that in NMG you really want to do it as fast as possible, even if you're not as comfortable, whereas in Rando you want to be a bit more sure of things.
Yes, that's basically how I see it. So that's going to be Green Pendant for Zero Rush and Ruby.
But yeah, Green Pendant says to me that he's going to Eastern area now.
Yeah, which we know that's where he needs to be. Because at this point, it's likely that the entire rest of the seed is just behind Swamp Palace, which is behind the Armos Knights. Yeah, I think he's going to go into the dungeon first here before turning it in. Yep.
Yeah, that's the easier routing when you flute to 5.
Yeah, it's the easier routing, and this is something that you have to do regardless, so doing it this way just makes a lot of sense. Because you're not really going to get anything besides potentially the silver arrows that would make this any faster. And even the silvers are pretty marginal against Armos Knights.
And we've gotten so few pod smalls and it's a pendant, you might as well just forget about pod for the time being.
Yeah, like I think if you got to 4, then you strongly consider going in, but for now, Armos plus Green Pendant, and then evaluate your options from there. Now, I do believe that the Tempered Sword does kill the green Igors in 1 hit. In spite of that, it's still faster to use the bow, as we saw there, because you do have to still pick up the key.
With the idea being that you can shoot from a farther distance away and then approach.
Yeah, that, and you don't have to deal with like the lag of swinging your sword.
Oh.
And you can't just dash through, because if you dash through them, then you'll dash past the key. And Zero Rush with that quick kill, showing why I said earlier silver arrows are pretty marginal for Armos Knights. Like, they are definitely faster, but not by a huge amount if you get that quick kill.
Yeah, and that was a perfectly executed quick kill.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. It was pretty textbook, exactly what you would expect.
So, was that green pendant worth it after all?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
I hope the answer is no, because I'd really like to see the seed completed without entering pod.
Oh, we've got, what is it, 10 items in Swamp to look forward to?
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty solid odds we just walk into the Fire Rod, Ether, or both in there.
And this far from go mode, you do left side.
Yeah. Honestly, I think in this situation, could say just do left side regardless, but...
I mean, you're 3 items from go mode. It is so unlikely you're going to find all 3 in the back that I think you do left side before you go to the back. Oh, and you said 10 items. I just realized we don't have the big key, so only 9.
No, we don't. I thought we picked that up somewhere, but I guess I must have been thinking Skullwood's big key, which we do have.
And welcome to our Raiders from SpeedGaming 3.
Yeah, I guess I should probably provide the recap again so that our new viewers are not totally confused about what's going on here.
As we find Ether, unfortunately, before the Fire Rod and the TR Big Key.
Unfortunately, yeah. But still a lot of checks to pull the Fire Rod in here. But to recap the situation for our new viewers here, Cheamo unfortunately had a crash about 45 minutes into the race, opted to forfeit, and is playing a vanilla speedrun instead. So that's why you are seeing completely different things on both screens here. Zero Rush is continuing to play the race. He is a Fire Rod and a Turtle Rock Big Key from Go Mode, having just pulled that Ether out of the first chest swamp, Ether opening up Turtle Rock, which will be probably his 7th crystal. Could be his 6th if Fire Rod's in it, though. Which actually, that reminds me. Zero Rush never did check the front of Skull Woods, did he? Like, he checked the middle section and the one chest on the right, and I think that was it.
Right, I think so.
So, front of Skull Woods is still something we have not seen.
Zero Rush forgot he didn't have the big key.
It's okay. I forgot he didn't have it, too.
Right, that you and he are in the same boat.
Going to left side here, that bomb is going to explode. Zero Rush is going to go through the door as it does. That's going to delay the pegs. And then he's going to clip through the rail using Kana Samaria here. That'll let him walk on the water.
It was just such clean execution, though, how he put the bomb down as he was walking over to push the lever.
Yeah, like, that room is just really super obnoxious between the lever being what it is, the crystal switch, you need to drop the bomb, and you just wanting to do everything fast.
And meanwhile, Cheamo does what chat always loves to see and pulls ped.
Yeah, he's playing the version of the game where you have to pull it. Can't win without it.
You were saying about 4-pod smalls.
Yeah, that's the threshold where you start seriously looking at going in.
Yeah, now a lot of back is in logic. Well, I guess Rupee Basement and Compass Chest.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything except Dark Maze, Harmless Hellway, Vanilla Big Key, and then Boss with no Big Key.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Horse Ether had to show up first, because now, really, the Fire Rod and the TR Big can be anywhere.
Yep. I think the play, I think Zero Rush's next play here, if I had to guess, is probably going to be Turtle Rock. Just follow that Ether, hope that everything is in the straight line, and go.
Well, there's our first mail upgrade of the seed.
Yeah, with the Mire in hand, that's always pretty nice to have, because you generally don't need the Death Warp.
And our second GT small. So that's pretty much all you need for doing the basement. You kind of hope the big key isn't in map chest, but other than that, 2 GT smalls will get you the whole thing.
Yep, and there are enough pot keys to allow you to comfortably climb after that, even if you have to more or less full clear the basement.
Was that a zero cycle?
Yeah, the Argus didn't delay and get stuck in that where he's supposed to be spinning puffs, but there are no puffs to spin. So yeah, zero cycle.
That's impressive. You do not see that very often at all, even with the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, you see a lot of people try it, but you don't see them get it too often. and shovel off the boss. Gonna immediately go turn that in just because he'll never be closer to it. And then we'll see he's got Pod, Turtle Rock, and Front of Skull Woods as his.
Oh, did the book just show up? I'm just noticing it on its tracker.
I'm trying to remember where that was, and I cannot. But I remember seeing it.
Because Bombos now is a thing. But we're not doing Bombos.
Yeah. Gonna go do Pod instead of those 4 keys. Because if Zero Rush is willing to be a little bit slow about it and do the bow side repeatedly, he can full clear aside from the big chest and the boss here on 4 keys. Well, actually, I guess if he's willing to say I'm never doing the boss, he could open the front door and be fast about it. But yeah, this is, even without the big key, this is absolutely where the density is for Zero Rush at this point, because it's like 12 checks, I think. Or 11 that he can get to.
I mean, if you're really pedantic and don't open the middle door, you can do all 12 checks that aren't locked behind the big key, but that's a lot of mirroring.
Well, he's got 4 keys, so he can open the front door, and he just need to find a 5th if he wanted to do the boss.
Oh, you're right. Right, we can do all of them because... Yeah, we just assume we're not doing the boss, since we don't have the big key anyway.
Right. I couldn't remember what the exact number of checks was off the top of my head. I thought it was 13, but... I don't think I think 14 is it.
Pod has 14 total, so -1 for the boss, -1 for the big chest, so...
Yeah. Regardless, double-digit number of checks. Very
Yes.
big at this stage of the game.
There's a worthless Quake medallion.
And there's the classic vanilla pop key.
Of course.
I wasn't going to bring it up just because we knew it was a pendant, and therefore keys could have been... The 6th one could still be in GT. But
There's always a small key in Pod, right? In Key Sanity.
Yep.
And there's our fire rod, so I think Skullwood's after this.
Yeah, absolutely. Skull Woods, that way just... If the big key is... Or Turtle Rock big key is there, you've got it. You don't have to backtrack. And even if it's not there, that's something you've got to do anyways.
Or maybe the TR big key is even here, and then we can just go mode the rest.
That is also very, very possible.
It's kind of funny that Ice Palace was total garbage. It seemed so tempting at the time.
Yeah, like, no big key, but that only locks the big chest and the boss. So it is definitely not what we were hoping to see out of that dip.
Meanwhile, the other 2 pendant dungeons had required progression between the hammer and the fire rod.
Yep. Which is also not really what you want to see out of your pendant dungeons, but if they're gonna be there, may as well be appealing enough to go in, and Mire absolutely was early in the seed.
Not reminding us that PED is still possible. I guess we'll probably check it after Skull Woods if we haven't found the TR Big by then.
Yeah, we still need to find the pod big and logically the ice big, if that's going to be the answer, but it being ped would also mean that those are going to show up. Single rupee and piece of heart. One of the saddest dark mazes I've ever seen.
Well, Dark Maze is logically behind all 6 pod smalls. And for all we know, if it's not ped, that 6th pod small could be in GT, as you were saying.
Yep. And we're probably, I guess, what, about 2.5 minutes from learning that?
Yeah. I'm assuming he'll rush the back of Skullwoods and check ped and then do the front of Skullwoods on his way out.
Yeah, that's my expectation as well. Do Mothula, do the bridge chest, check ped, do the front, go to Turtle Rock.
And of course, we still have those 2 abandoned checks in Thieves Town.
Yeah, of course. We already know one of them isn't it because Cheamo did it before crashing in forfeit.
Oh, right.
But the big chest absolutely could be.
Given the mirror, yeah, I guess you still just do Moth first.
Yeah, absolutely do Moth first, just because if Moth has the big key, then there's just no need to check the pedestal at all.
And Cheamo unfortunately has his vanilla preset run come to an end as he takes a death on Helmet King.
Yeah, that's a run ender in vanilla for sure, unfortunately. And you do it on relatively little health. So it can be pretty tricky if you take an extra hit or 2 in there.
This Moth fight?
Not it.
But that does open Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, and I guess at this point we probably see that before Turtle Rock too, assuming it's not Bridge or Ped. Actually, even if it is Ped, we probably still see that pretty quick here, just because we'll still need Pod Big Key in that case.
Hoping it's not Ped.
Yeah, because that would just mean at this point things get unnecessarily drawn out, but that's, what, a 3rd bottle?
I think only 2nd. Nope. Tracker's saying 3rd. I trust our tracker.
Yeah.
Thanks to our tracker Samamas, by the way.
Absolutely wonderful tracker, good at keeping things. I was trusting the tracker when it said 2 before the chest was opened, so... It's not Ped.
And yeah, this looks like the Pyramid Fairy play.
Yeah, and then after this, the only play really left is French Vanilla Big Key.
Do we divert down to Bombos first? That is before Pyramid Fairy. No, doesn't look like it.
Just gonna grab that red bomb, head off to the pyramid, and we'll see. Taking the damage there lets him start the dash without dropping the bomb. Hookshotting to the same effect, really. Anything that separates you from the bomb, you've got a few frames while it catches up to do that with. Nice little speed up.
just our final GT small, which is logically required, but...
Yeah, and certainly just nice to have for routing. Might be able to skip an out-of-the-way pot key or two.
Yeah, unfortunately doesn't really do anything for us. So, in terms of stuff we've left behind, it's really just Bombos, Tablet, and Thieves' Big Chest, right?
Ether Tablet as well, we also haven't seen, and it looks like zerorush is going to do that first.
Yeah, I was going to say, given this routing, I think he's going to check Ether before TR.
I feel like he kind of, when he paused after Pyramid Fairy, he kind of spotted the book in his inventory and was like, oh. But that's just speculation on my part.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out, I don't think we've seen Graveyard Ledge. We might not have seen Bumper Cape either, but we don't have the cape anyway.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen Graveyard Ledge, but I cannot remember what was there at all.
Para Basement, I was just about to say, and now Zero's going in for it anyway.
Yep, that's true. So, take a few minutes, well, a few seconds, get some water or something, stand up, stretch, because we're not going anywhere until these tiles are all done.
A good time to remind you to follow the runners. You know, this, regardless of how this turns out, this is the first game in a series that they have more ahead of them.
Yep, still plenty of room for cheamo to try to work it back out in subsequent games. Of course, zerorush, very tough competitor, but still a lot of room to have a good series, regardless how it turns out. And there's the last tile.
Oh, not the key we wanted!
That's bad. You don't want to see that. So now it could be just back in the Ice Palace Big Chest.
Yeah, so I guess that's now 4 one-offs not on Death Mountain that we have to worry about. Thieves Big, Ice Big, Graveyard Ledge, and Bombos.
That sounds right to me.
But obviously TR is higher density. We have to go as far as Mimic Cave.
Yeah. And that's what? 3, 4, 5, 6 items total?
That sounds right.
Yeah, because you can't get the big chest and you can't get 2 crystal roller room. So, I mean, 60% odds that the big key is just in this area.
I'd do a prediction, but zerorush will just clear things out too quickly.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, our 6th pod small.
Yeah, we could find the pod big in here, and that would open up 2 more checks in pod. Actually, chat pointing out that pod small means that we have found every small key in the game. Castle Tower excluded because they're guaranteed vanilla.
It's not something you see very often in a Key Sanity game. But now the odds favor TR Big not being on the mountain. Just got Lava Chest and Mimic Cave.
Yep, suddenly everything's kind of just flipped around and it's looking real bad if you don't like one-off checks. Okay, lava chest. Is it going to be hard vanilla here? Nope.
Nope. So Mimic Cave's our last hope, or else one-offs and worry about saving your portal and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I would expect the Graveyard Ledge to be the last of the one-offs, just because that's the one that you, well, Bombos too, you can't save the portal for either. We appear to be having some technical issues here. Please hold.
Yeah, Race Room shows Zero Rush still going.
Well, while this is going on, we actually do have cheamo with us. So, unfortunately, I can't really say GG given the situation, but we can perhaps talk about the seed a little bit from your perspective as a runner.
Yeah, so the screen was frozen, figured I'd hop in. Yeah, I don't know, it was kind of a bad light world. I was all over the place before the crash. And
we did get Zero's feedback just in time to see that the TR Big Key was in Mimic Cave, so we are in go mode and don't have to go back down.
Yeah, so Zero Rush is going to go through Turtle Rock here, go to Ganon's Tower, hunt the Big Key, and be on his way.
Yeah, and cheamo, it's too bad because you guys were having a really close match, actually.
I'm kind of surprised at that. I don't know, it felt like it wasn't going very well.
I mean, the light world for you guys was, like, you had a slightly different order of operations, but you were within a couple seconds of each other when you bottlenecked in Eastern Palace.
Yeah,
so,
it all kind of comes down to when you get to Eastern for light world.
Yeah, and then
you both were pretty much the last location on it. Maybe, like, you had a one-off each.
The problem is, if you left, you would save so much time, but you would never leave once you're there. I think.
Yeah, not
especially
with the big
with so little left,
hand.
and you still don't have dark. That only opens one check. The boots. Why would they be the mitts, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Though speaking of Eastern, that was one of the things that was shaping up to be interesting. You had gone back to Armos, found the hook shot pretty quickly. Zero Rush had dipped Mire, gotten the hammer, and so then it was. That was one of the reasons it was looking kind of close. What is Zero Rush still looking for?
Good question. Might just be silvers. I don't know. He doesn't really need them with the tempered sword, but
Laser Bridge for silvers?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just the only thing I can think of. Because, I mean, he got the powder out of the big chest even, and he's got everything else aside from the pod big key. He might just be wanting to complete the key collection. I don't know.
Please don't do Tile Room just to try to complete a key collection.
Well, he's got time to finish. If he wants to look for stuff, he certainly doesn't need silvers to finish the game. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Let's try next.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
No ice on the floor is kind of the benchmark for a solid Trinex fight for the most part.
Sure. I don't know what happened there. Like, I think I was in Mire too.
Yeah, I think somebody looked at the mod, said that I think it was an ice rod and a sword beam hit at the same time or something.
Is that just like the vanilla game crashed? Because it's so strange. Like, I play on console, and I was shocked. I never have crashes.
Yeah, I would expect that to be a vanilla crash.
I'm not,
because we've seen a handful of weird ones before.
I'm not really too worried about it. I think I was behind. I think you'd rather find the hammer first, and then you just do pod Eastern into hookshot there. I suspect that's better. And I was double backing on so much stuff.
Yeah,
but
the
anyways,
thing is, though, Pod was totally dead this seed, and the keys were all super late, too.
it's key sanity. You don't get to miss too much. It looked like it was a bit of a hunt for go mode there anyways.
Yeah, when you last locate your Turtle Rock Big Key and Mimic Cave for go mode, yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to pop in, say GG's to Zero Rush, and I think we'll see what happens. I think we're just going to continue on game 2 tomorrow, but still to be worked out. So, thanks a lot for the restream.
All right.
And GG's.
Or another, you guys are presumably playing at same time tomorrow, right?
Yes, yeah. All right.
In that case, have a good one. We'll be looking forward to tomorrow's.
Thank you. See you.
And Zero Rush is in Ganon's Tower. Remember, we went over this a bit earlier in the mode, but one of the quirks of the tournament key sanity format is that the Ganon's Tower big key is going to be somewhere random in the GT basement. So it is the traditional 1 in 22 that you get with your normal non-key sanity modes.
Also, I just checked, and that match between these two runners same time tomorrow will be on SpeedGaming 5 and will be calmed by Lana Bean and Tracy M. So mark your calendars.
Like a good one. Yep. Okay, Stalfos room here. Zero Rush going right side of the Ganon's Tower basement first means that you get all the dense checks pretty much up front. Already done the Compass room, done with the Stalfos room here. Rando room not that far away is the other 4 chest room. Let's see, I should probably count out checks because people like their numbers.
So this is 13?
Yeah, that just sounds right. Yeah, it is. Sank card always an easy find.
Silver's and Butter's sword in Rando room.
Yeah, somebody picked up the Pyramid Fairy, just moved it right over there.
That'd be an easy Ganon fight.
Yeah, like, no red mail, but you're on 15 arts. Especially for somebody as good at the game as Zero Rush, it doesn't get better than this. Does kind of need to lift that pot, though, rather than just walking under it.
Well, 1 in 4 chance of tile room now, right?
Yeah.
And hey,
or
for
to
ice...
put it a bit different way,
Oh, sorry.
3 in 4 chance that we're not having to take another break.
And I was going to say, since you were talking about, that silvers don't make that much of a difference in the regular Armos fight, they do make the ice Armos fight quite a bit easier. Oh no, the fake out! Pod
wow.
big key, and we are going to tile room.
We have found every single item on the tracker now except the red mail, because we know we're finding the GT key here in the tile room. But yeah, silvers absolutely help with the Ice Armos fight, just because while quick kills do exist for Ice Armos, the ice makes them a fair bit more difficult.
Jeez, I wonder if we should get in a prediction over-under for Zero Rush's final item count.
I mean, at this point, it's gotta be like 180, right?
Right.
Clearing the basement and doing all the dungeons?
The question is over or under on one. Yeah, I think I'll put it at like 190.
Yeah, 185 to 190 would be a good over-under, I think.
Or now that they allow three-way, I could put like 3 options, but
Under 180, 180 to 190, and 190 plus?
under 180 just seems so unlikely, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're the one with the mod powers on the channel. Then yeah, just to recap one more time as we approach the end here for any late viewers that may be popping in. cheamo unfortunately had a crash around the 45-minute mark, resulted in him losing 25, maybe 30 minutes of progress, I think it was, and just forfeited at that point. Zero Rush opted to continue playing out the seed. So, very unfortunate circumstances for cheamo here, but they get to see Zero Rush pretty much full clear the game. We were talking about the collection rate just a couple minutes ago, and it's sure to be very high.
Yeah, I decided to put the prediction in as 188 or more, or 187 or less. So
I think that's going to be a pretty good balance there.
you got the whole GT climb to bet your channel points on it.
Yeah, and no idea if Zero Rush will pad it out by 4 more by checking those upstairs chests. Yeah, I will say though, the first 45-ish minutes of the race were really shaping up to be quite interesting. Because there's a story of cheamo's early hook shot off the Armo sites versus Zero Rush's earlier hammer out of Pendant Mire. And we were shaping up to just see the differences that those two routes could have given us.
Yeah, like if cheamo had somehow managed to skip Ice Palace, which seems unlikely because you're gonna do clearable ice before you're jumping into TR, especially since we didn't originally even know which one was the final pendant.
Right. And Zero Rush showing us you can use the lamp to light that torch even though the gap is there. Not checking the mini Helmasaur chest, but is checking the pre-mold arm chest. +1 collection rate.
Oh, well, that'll do it. I'm sure that'll put him over 188.
Oh, the key collection wasn't complete.
He's just memeing.
I'm actually both surprised that I forgot about that key and that it was in that exact chest to actually get pulled. So no red mail, but literally everything else got found.
Well, and of course, no Aga Tower and the keys in it.
Yeah, but those aren't randomized in this mode, so they don't count.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it had been an Aga seed, then we could have a fuller tracker.
I guess so, yeah. Was that 3 or 4 cycles? I wasn't even counting when I should have been.
I think 4, but I'm not entirely sure.
4's not a bad Aga 2 fight regardless. It's like, I'm big on the idea of 3 being the ideal, just because blue balls and bad patterns mean you'll basically never get 2 outside of the God RNG. And then 4 is still rather solid. Not going to lose any sleep or shed any tears over it.
And hey, nice quick Ganon fight incoming. We do, after all, have his one true weakness.
And we've also got the Gold Sword to just deliver absolute overkill on phase 2 here. Those warps were a little bit rude, though. Just a little.
Yeah, I'm not cooperating too well with those warps.
Nope, but that's over with now. No torch glitch here, intentionally so that he can set up the triple, and there it is.
So get your GGs in for Zerorush, who nearly full cleared this seed. And he finishes with an official race time of 1:45.35. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Oh, I kill Ganon for one, that's for sure.
See if we can get him in here in any case to talk about the race.
Yep.
He's in the setup. Hey, GG.
Hello. Thank you. How's it going?
Well,
Nice full clear.
Yeah, that was a lot of chests opened.
Yeah. 187 collection rate. So I didn't hit that 188 you were talking about.
Ooh, wow. Well, that was a pretty good.
I should have. I guess I should have fluffed the Helmosaur chest too.
Clearly, that was awesome though that you got the Swamp Big out of the final chest.
Yep. I think I had everything except red mail and maybe an Ice Palace small key.
Nah, there's only 2 Ice Palace smalls, and you had both even before you went into the dungeon way back.
So, yeah, honestly, only some of that was bluffing because obviously after the 45-ish mark or so, wasn't exactly racing against anyone anymore. But I think the only thing I probably wouldn't have done was go back into Mire and maybe Hera Basement.
Yeah, well, Hera Basement, at that point you were still looking for the Turtle Rock Big Key.
Yeah, I saw
the only
big
thing that
key
comes to mind for me is Laser Bridge.
Oh yeah, I was just opening chests at that point, seeing if I could find silvers or something.
Oh yeah, of course, Silvers and Buttersword were conveniently next to each other.
Yeah. This seed was a bit of a huge troll, though. I don't know if you caught the fire rod logic, but it wanted you to go into pod to get the ether, and go into Turtle Rock to get the 6th pod small key, and then go back into pod to get the fire rod. Was the, I think, logical key layout there.
Oh yeah, that was in the vanilla big key chest, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was logically behind all 6 smalls, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Which is really good. There was there's a pod key in pod, because usually when I go in there and key sanity with 4 keys, I'll just check whichever door I get to first, and just skip the other one. So it's very possible if that key wasn't there right in front of me, I would have missed the fire rod. Guess I probably would have done the harmless hellway chest instead.
Oh, by the way, Zero, you might want to have words with your wife. She bet on 188 or more.
Oh, did she? Yeah, well, she's wrong. So, I guess she's losing money.
Or all important channel points.
Yeah. Yeah. Sucks that it wasn't, a race all the way to the end, but it happens, I guess. I did offer cheamo a rematch, but he declined, so I think we'll just go to game 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I'm not really sure how that was going to be handled on your side, on the admin side, and it wasn't a topic that I wanted to really broach on the broadcast because he didn't want to misinform people in case we said one thing and it turned out to be the other. But if that's how it's going to be, then game 2, same time tomorrow that today's was.
Yep. Hopefully no hardware issues. I myself had a crash in my last match, which it's very, very tilting. And
yes, I can.
Especially when it
understand
happens. Especially when it happens early in the seed, because who knows how it would have turned out. But hopefully, fingers crossed, no issues going forward. So.
Yep, I'll be hoping for no issues. I'll be hoping for good races, whether it turns out to be 1 or 2.
Yep.
So, anything else before we call tonight?
Nice hammer location, I guess. That's all that comes to mind.
Yeah, that was cool that you found it that early.
I almost didn't go in because I was like, "Oh, this is fully clearable in logic," but I have 4 hearts and a fighter sword, so maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll just see if I get another sword and come back later. And I was like, "Well, I'm right here." And,
well, then you made a beeline for the big chest, which is kind of interesting.
I think that's just the fastest route, if I'm not mistaken. Just grab the chest and go left. I mean, I guess it depends on if you have enough keys.
Yeah, because you didn't have enough keys.
Yeah, you can hit the switch and just do the big chest into the boss. But, I only had 1, I think. So.
Yeah. No, so because of your lack of keys, it might have been faster to go left so that you could then hit the switch and combine the big chest with map chest.
Yeah, potentially.
But anyway, GG. Looking forward to what you guys have for us tomorrow night.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yep. I will be looking forward to it as well.
So once again, tune in same time tomorrow on SpeedGaming 5 to see game 2 between these runners.
Yep, and we do have 4 races on the schedule for tomorrow. We've got a wall kicks versus Andy on SpeedGaming that started at 8:40 p.m. Eastern tonight. That may or may not still be ongoing. I have no idea what the status of that race is. But we've got 4 races on the schedule for tomorrow, including game 2 of this, as we've said multiple times at this point. So we are moving in. We're well into the round of 16 at this point, really. Got a couple people locked in for the round of 8, the quarterfinals even. So the number of matches may be going down, but competition's just getting even more intense. Every match is just getting even bigger and bigger as we go on.
I mean, anyone who made it this far is a really strong runner, so we're just seeing nothing but quality matchups.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm of the opinion we've been to the point where it's been a lot of quality matchups, potentially even really since the group stage. You had to be really good even to get that far, but at this point, yeah, when it's dwindling down, it shines through even more.
Anyway, shout-outs once again to our runners here, and give them a follow. Shout-outs again to our tracker, Samamas. who had to basically fill up the entire thing on Zero Rush's side. And Reg, I'm glad we got to do this. Wish it could have been a more competitive race, but so it goes,
circumstances aside, it was still a rather interesting one. I mean, full clear seeds will tend to have a lot of quirks and twists to them that make them interesting to think about and call. But yeah, even with the circumstances, I'm glad we got to see it and put it on the show for everybody. And I do want to echo again, especially shout outs to the runners, because without them, there would be no show.
Well, I think that's all I got. Anything else for you?
No, I think that's going to pretty much do it for us. We'll wrap it up here, and we'll see you guys some other race.